Guys, I had been on a bit of a book bender last month, and I wanted to show you all of my awesome witchy goodies with this amazing big ass witchy book haul this year. I mean, I have books there. I have a whole box of books. But before I get into them, I want to show you. I want to take you on a bit of a field trip to the Parenthood book sale, which I support uh, twice a year. It's biennial, and it they the New Age section of the book sale actually had a pretty good selection of witchy books this year, so I picked out on that. But by the end, I had I had a little bit of drama. I'll be honest about that, which really surprised me. I thought this year would go off without a hitch, but I ended up having a bit of drama, as I did last year when someone tried to walk away with my cart full of books. So I will just leave you here for now, and I will come back after my little field trip and catch you up. Hey guys, so I have been here for an hour and a half, and I have found just tons of books this year. I got here early, so I could go through all the books in the New Age / occult section, and they had a pretty good selection this year. I was really impressed. There was a Magic Mirror, The Way of Herbs, A Woman's Book of Shadows, Plants of Power, a first edition of Drawing on the Moon, Crystals, Crystal Enlightenment, Crystal Clear, Moldavite. I'm hoping I don't already have that book. Terror Outside the Box, and the book of the Goddess Past and Present. I am stoked, and I've only been here for an hour and a half. I was really fortunate to get to the music section early this year, because I always have to help someone out of the way and find someone to get to the more educational piano books, and I really made out like a bandit this year. Yeah, I was, it's really not that crowded this year, which, really surprised me. Usually they are just packed. It's hard to find your cart. It's just hard to get around in general. People are just usually clogging up the pathways, and um, people are just being a lot more polite this year. I mean, last year someone actually walked away with my cart, which really, really bummed me out a bit. Okay, witches, so I have been here for nearly 2 hours, and I have managed to get down my selection by about a third, I think. I got rid of about half the music books I purchased. I tell you, I have been over the entire hobby section looking for books on um, oh, looking for books on book binding, and you think I would find at least one book, but no. Then I just had to go back to the music and CDs and DVDs, and they had just an entire row around the corner filled with DVDs. The entire series of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for $25. I think it's a pretty good deal, but people were just, oh my god, they just had their carts everywhere in there. It was just a madhouse. You could not move. People were just blocking the line, looking at all the DVDs. I was glad to get out of there. It was just ridiculous, and really, there really aren't that many people here today. Um, which really surprises me. You think there would be more people here than what there are. Really, I haven't got too many books. I have tried to keep my budget under $30. So, yay me! They actually had a better selection here in the New Age section than they have had in the past several years. So, I hope they get some better books in next year. Oh my god, I was almost about ready to leave when I found a cache of just tons of old Cook's Illustrated magazines. So, because I hadn't heard the announcement in a while, I'm really trying to keep to my budget, and I tracked down a volunteer that works here, and she said that they were 25 cents each. So I went back to the magazine stand and just picked down. Well, as I was picking out, I heard over the announcement that they were only 50 cents each, so I had to narrow down the magazines I wanted from a stack twice as large to about, I have like $5 worth of magazines here, so about 10. Uh, yeah, I am assuming you saw that couple in front of me. Now, here's what happened. I got a line. I was at the very end of the line. People were actually lining up behind me at the time, and all of a sudden, this couple comes out from nowhere in front of me. I see them walk through the door, and they just make a beeline right towards the line, step right in front of me, and not only does no one say anything, but not 2 minutes later, I hear a cart coming up behind me, and this little white bitch comes up, flies around me, while there are people behind me standing with the couple who just barged in front of me. I'm sorry, but that is so rude. I wasn't raised that way. Um, I guess I just expect better of people. Just you know, when you're shopping, don't do that. Don't be a dick. That was just uncalled for. No one had the decency to even ask if they could just barge in front of me. And then I saw this blonde bitch and the Latin guy making out in front of me. Like, I want to see that. It was just it just disgusted me. But yeah, as you can see, I'm coming to you from a slightly different angle this time. I'm still in the kitchen. Well, technically the dining room. Um, and I am sitting on the love seat, which Mom has moved here so she could put a bed in the living room. You could probably see it. Yeah, she put the bed in there for my brother to sleep on while he is recovering from his surgeries and his dislocated knee and all of that loveliness. So, without further ado, I will show you what I got. And, this is why I love going to the Heifer's bookstore, because you never know what you're going to find. And, I will start here with the music, because usually it's really hard to find decent music once it's been thoroughly picked over by someone, which is why I love to be in a line. Outside the book sale, waiting to get in, so I can be one of the first people to make a beeline to all the favorite sections that I like to go to. And I found, I didn't find too much music, but I found some decent things, like West Side Story, just an Alfred's Basic, jazz rock chorus, sight reading stuff, the John Sean piano course, who does the Finger Power series, and the first grade book of the John Thompson Modern Course for the Piano, which is one of the copies that I am missing from my collection of that course. Uh, I also found, yeah, no, I'm boring you a bit now, but I also found a ton of back issues of Cooks Illustrated, which are hard to find. They had just a shit ton. At first I was told they were a quarter a piece, and I was like, bonus. So I was just making a pig of myself until I heard the little announcer guy over the speaker say that magazines are 50 cents each. So I had to put it back about half of what I had purchased. I actually found a really good recipe in here for white sandwich bread. So I am going to be tinkering with that this summer, maybe making some dough bread out of it. I don't quite know yet. But yeah, I found some awesome recipes in that. And now for the glory of my selections. Oh, I found this old out-of-print Wiser book on how to make and use magic mirrors. I found not a first edition copy because I think it's actually a hard print. The first edition was, but probably a second edition copy of Drawing Down the Moon by Margot Adler, which I really preferred I don't like the updated version as much as the original version because there was sort of this bowing and scraping reverence throughout the book towards Professor Ronald Hutton, whom, if you've watched my channel enough, you know that I have a fundamental disagreement with him on historical positions. And in modern paganism, especially here in the US, that's essentially verboten. You cannot disagree with Professor Hutton, or else you get declared as being a fluffy bunny, which is, just really, really sad. That, I mean, Margaret Adler even said that pagans were scholars without degrees, and we really are. I really try to emphasize that in my own research, and if I disagree with someone, I explain why. It's not as though I just disagree with someone just because, or just because I don't like them. I'm not that petty. Just because I don't just because I don't buy into someone's personal theory does not mean I don't like them as a person. That's completely different. You have to really, really do something nasty to me not to like you as a person. But I digress. I found a bunch of interesting books there. This is Plants of Power. Actually, I was able to check off a lot of books on my want list from the Planned Parenthood book sale and from the half price bookstore that I went to later that day. So I was able to just delete a bunch of items off my Amazon wish list, such as this book on Moldavite, Ozark Tales, let's see, Crystal Enlightenment. There's actually quite a few books there on crystals. Crystal Clear, Woman's Book of Shadows, which it's really interesting. Even though it's written for women, it's really inspiring. Let me think. I think that was about it for the Planned Parenthood book sale. But earlier this month, I went to the book sale happening at the public library in Stewart because the Menlo Library wasn't having a book sale this year. I think because the librarian has recently resigned, so her assistant librarian has taken over. But I found a bunch of really good books there. This is sort of the glory of what I found there. This is a book that I checked out of the high school library, either in junior high or maybe I was a freshman in high school at the time, because I was writing a report for my earth sciences class that year. And it was considered a huge part of your grade. Um, and as I recall, this is really because I wanted to write about environmentalism. This was the only book on the subject in the entire library. I looked around libraries around Stewart. The public library in Stewart didn't have anything, um, which sucked. So I really wrote a big report based on one book. I wouldn't do that now, of course, because the internet, hello. But yeah, back in high school, we really were limited by what resources we could have. And as I recall, my teacher was really finicky when it came to things like typos and spacing because I was using a word processor that I had just got for my birthday that year, and I had never used it for anything yet. So I was using the double space function on the word processor, and apparently the spacing was larger than it would have been if I had typed it up at the computer at school. So he docked me a lot of points for that, and he docked me a lot of points for misspelling the abbreviation, etc. Because of my ears and my poor hearing at the time, I kept hearing it wrong. I thought it was spelled I thought it was spelled ECT instead of ETC. Um, Yeah, so I was really excited to find this because it's a book that I've wanted to reread for a very long time. Apparently it was written by, it had a foreword by Prince Charles. I found also two classic crafts and recipes for the holiday from Martha Stewart Living, which is awesome because I'm all about Martha, even though her magazine has really declined in recent years since her stay in prison. If anyone watching has any old magazines from like the 1990s until the early 2000s, let me know. I will take them off your hand because that's when her magazine was its best. I found a couple of books on depression glass, which is awesome because I collect depression glass among other things. And I also found two Taste of Home holiday and celebration cookbooks, which is awesome because Taste of Home has awesome recipes. I've used a few of the recipes and they always turn out spectacular. Um, yeah, all those books I got from the library cost me $5 total because I just filled up this huge bag. There wasn't a millimeter to spare, and I got the whole lot for $5. Let's see. I have also been buying a few books online to further some of my personal research. Excuse me. So I bought some really interesting book, and this book I'm actually surprised isn't more expensive online because it's hard to come by. You don't see it very often. Even scholars that write on the subject of Celtic festivals don't really mention it very often. But it's Irish folk drama by Alan Gailey. I also bought the Euro Festivals, a guide to British calendar customs. Let's see, I got Nancy Antonucci and Millie Howard's Psychic Tarot. This is Tekla Dumator's Hungarian Folk Customs, which doesn't, it somewhat just goes into detail with what I'm researching, but not a whole lot. She has written a book on book beliefs, so I'm definitely going to be getting that sometime, as well as a couple other books in English on Hungarian folk customs, I believe, if I can find them. Because I was expecting it to go into more detail than what it did on the agrarian customs and the customs around the what we would consider the grand quarters of Invoke, Mayday, Lunasa, and Samhain. This book, I have no idea how I got this book. It's British Folk Customs by Christina Hole. I love everything that Christina writes. If you're interested in folklore, get her stuff. It's awesome. Because the gift card I was using, or the prepaid debit card I was using, didn't have enough funds on it to go through. In fact, even when it arrived, I went back to check the status of my order, and it said that the order had been declined and canceled. So how I got it, I have no idea. Unless I have like a little angel or someone sending me things that I want. Which, if you're watching and you did, thank you. That was really very sweet. And this is a book that I've been wanting to get a hold of for a long time. It is British Calendar Customs, England, Volume 2, Fixed Festivals, January through May, published by the Folklore Society. As you can see, this little monogram, FLS. Yeah, FLS. Published in 1939. Part of a series of books that I gradually want to add to my personal library. Yeah, so if anyone has any copies of books from this series that they want to pass on to Good Home, I am looking for every copy from this series, so get in touch. But yeah, that was I was really excited to get the book. I've been looking for it for a long, long time. Let's see. Yeah, I oh, I completely forgot about this one. But at the Parentood book sale, I also found the book Tarot Outside the Box. And after that, I journeyed on over to the half price bookstore where I found um, Melita Denning and Osborne Phillips, The Magic of the Tarot, which is a book that I've had on my Amazon wishlist for a long time now, because at one point I will eventually write my own book on using the tarot and magic and spells and potions and spellcraft and all sorts of delightful things. I just felt like I really wanted to acquaint myself with everyone else's approaches before I sort of write about my own and how they differ, maybe how they're similar. So yeah, I also bought Mary Kay Greer's Understanding the Tarot Court, which is a fabulous book, as well as a hard copy or a hardback copy of Starhawk's Truth or Dare, which is just as good as her book Dreaming the Dark. And if that were not enough, I have been getting some amazing books from some publishers. My good friend Patricia Telesco's book, How to Be a Wicked Witch, which I actually saw at the Planned Parenthood bookstore as a hardcover copy. So if you're in the area and you go there, look for this book. I didn't buy the hard copy because I already have a softcover copy on hand, but there is another The Creative Tarot, A Modern Guide to an Inspired Life by Jessica Crispin, which as I was reading this book, I was already getting inspired to actually create my own tarot deck. I won't tell you the name that I've chosen for it because I don't want anyone else to use it. It seems as though when someone comes up with a really good idea for a tarot deck, they look up the name they want to call it, and it's already been taken by another deck or another artist. So my lips are sealed. Um, I got The Fool's Pilgrimage: Kabbalistic Meditations on the Tarot by Stephen Holder. Tarot and the Tree of Life. The Esoteric Tarot. Tarot for Life. And Tarot for Lovers, which actually arrived to me from Woodford Press on my birthday, which is really nice because I was feeling really, really, really underappreciated on my own damn birthday. Because I had to spend it in the hospital, which is not fun. Oh, another book. I'm totally unorganized today, but the last book I found at the Planned Parenthood book sale is The Way of Herbs by Michael Tierra, which is another book that I've long since wanted to add to my own reference library because I am a herbalist. And the last two books, all from Wiser Books, is The Best Tarot Practices, the English Magic Tarot, which I was surprised when I got this deck. I thought it would be more about tarot from a magical perspective, but it's not. The title signifies a period of time rather than really a much of a theme for the deck itself. I was expecting, as I was looking through the guidebook for the illustrators and the author, to discuss a lot of the arcane symbolism that you're seeing in the cards, but they really don't. That it's really up to your own imagination, I suppose. I also expected the authors to sort of um, explain how one might use their deck in Magic, but that's also not a focus of the book and the deck at all. So if you buy the deck thinking that's going to be its aim or focus, it's not. And I really, really love this book. Those of us who've been following Harold Roth's story, his hold on, Alchemy Works. Yeah, I was spacing on the name of his online business, but it's Alchemy Works, and I have been a fan of his store for many years. I have been waiting for this book to come up for years and years and years. I think at least a decade, and it's finally in print. It's The Witching Herbs. Originally, when I'd heard that he was working on this project, I thought that his book was going to be more encyclopedic, but he's really only taken 13 plants to discuss, which is a good witch theme number. Perhaps he will expand it into a series of books, with different volumes. That would be interesting. So, Harold, if you are watching this video, perhaps take that into account. So that is all. I don't really have much else to add, except I will be starting my first ever YouTube giveaway. I'm not entirely sure when exactly, but it's going to be coming really soon. I just haven't been able to get out of the house to shop for things yet. I have several things around the house that I'm going to be putting in in this gift basket. Books, beeswax candles that I made myself, um, things like that. But when I can actually get out and do a little shopping, because I've really been a homebody since my brother's been hurt. I don't drive, and our mother doesn't really want to go out and really leave the house at all for some reason, which is odd. But the next time I can go out and do a little scouting, I will do a little shopping and get that basket all put together and do a little video about the basket, what goes in it, how you can enter the contest, and then I will proceed to pick a winner. So good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor. And as always, keep calm and witch on.